Hey, good morning. Pulling out from the house here. I want to share a couple of thoughts with you today if you have time. Take about 3 or 4 minutes, probably. And what I want to share with you is something that I listened to last night. It was a recent interview that TD Jakes gave about business, entrepreneurship, and all that kind of stuff. And very, very good stuff. And I wrote a couple of notes of the highest bullet points that I could take out of it. And if you don't know, TD Jakes is been a long-time preacher, but also a filmmaker, Grammy Award-winning music producer, and a whole bunch of success in the business world itself. But what I took away was some really neat points, the most of which is, people always ask about if they're an entrepreneur or not. How do you know if you're an entrepreneur or not? And whether you should be in business or not. And I see this a lot with insurance agents that feel like they want to pursue the business world of being a business owner, but they don't have the heart for it. They don't have the makeup for it. They would be better suited to work under somebody and be a number 2 or number 3 or an employee somewhere. And there's nothing at all wrong with that, but it's knowing who you are. Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about the most important factor in success is self-awareness and knowing where you fit in an organization. You're not necessarily going to be the leader, the starter, the beginner of a new project. You can be a follower and be equally as successful in knowing that that's your place.
This is a word that is rarely talked about in our space that I want to start building more attention for. Self-awareness. I want to deliver on this message so much. I would create a test or a drug that allowed people to become self-aware. One potion inject, not hustle, not smart, self-awareness. I don't fear being self-aware. I know I suck at a lot of stuff. I think everybody lies to themselves. Some people are meant to be B and C players. And I'm pissed that the narrative now is that you need to be a number 1 and have your company, because a lot of people are gonna lose or leave money on the table because that's just the narrative. I'm such a positive guy. I struggle to think about the things I'm bad at, but self-awareness requires understanding both and then choosing which path you want to go through. I'm a big fan of going all in on your strengths and don't give a fuck about what you suck at. Self-awareness isn't only just betting on your strengths, it's accepting all your shortcomings. Let me tell you one thing. What works for me does not necessarily work for you. I think being at peace with yourself and your skill set is such an important part of this. Too many people try to be like me because it's sizzly and it's sexy and people want to be charismatic and on stage. So many of you do so many things better than I do. You can look at how people roll and it's great to admire and things of that nature, but it's so damn important to stick to your DNA. Try to get to a place where you understand yourself and understand what your strengths are. You've got to find your self-awareness. All your shortcomings are there for a reason. They're there to also allow you to be great. Deep in your brain, deep in your heart, you actually accept all those shortcomings is the second your life goes on the offense. I worry that people don't tap into their strengths. You have to audit who you actually are, because then you're not going to bullshit yourself. You're going to storytell yourself, you're going to motivate yourself, but you're not going to bullshit yourself. And once you believe that, either for yourself or someone else told you, go directly, all chips, all into that. We've all got something, and you just need to accept what's yours and go in on that. Then you've got a starting point to success. And so self-awareness at its finest is accepting your shortcomings and accentuating your strengths.
So what TD Jakes talks about is, I don't want to give people the seed. I don't give people the seed. If they've got the seed, talking about entrepreneurism, I want to provide for them the fertilizer. And I thought, man, that is so perfect. Because as much as I want to try to bring people along, my family, friends that I grew up with, I want to bring them along into this industry that has made so much for me and my family and the people that I serve and the people that I care about. But I can't give them that seed. Either they've got it or they don't have it. And if they do have it, then what I want to provide for them, all I can provide for them is the fertilizer to their existing seed. I can provide for them the way in which to cultivate it the best based on best practices. I can provide for them the companies and the tools and the techniques on getting their business to grow faster, but I cannot provide that original seed. Only can I provide the fertilizer for what's already there. And again, some people need to own up to the fact that that's not their calling to be a business owner, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that was the first one. And it's so interesting how I talk a lot about burning the bridges behind you, and there's no way to move forward unless you've done that. And T.D. Jakes talks about, there's an example in the Bible about a person who did just that, and prior to doing just that, could not find any success really. They were following what the family said for them to do, and he's talking specifically about Elisha, and he's talking about 1 Kings 19 in the Bible, if you ever want to look at it, talking about Elisha, S-H-A, and how he was working the family farm because his father had always done that. That's what he was supposed to be doing. That's his lot in life, is to continue to perpetuate the family mission of running the farm. And he was operating the plow one day. He had a dozen oxen pulling the plow through the field, and the prophet Elijah, J-A-H, came through, and he saw what Elijah had, and he knew that that's the path he needed to follow. And so what did he do? Well, he slayed all the oxen, and they ate them as a big feast of the family, but he told everybody goodbye, and he burned the plow. So there was no way of going back once he burned his plow. And that's the lesson in the thing, is that he dropped everything and he went. He had no way of going back.
They didn't always have the benefit of parents who could see it or had time to see it or knew how to see it. But even as adults, there are still seeds down in you that have not been touched yet. That's what happened to Elisha. He was fulfilling his parents' vision, plowing in the field. That boy wasn't no farmer. Just because you can run a plow doesn't mean you're a farmer. Right. But sometimes we get stuck in what people expect.
Right.
And we never find out who we are because we're living somebody else's dream. And so there he is plowing in the field doing what his daddy wanted and going around and said, I guess this is all life has for me. And he's going around and around in circles. Like many people are listening to me right now. You go to work, go to church, go home. Go to work, go to church, go home. Go to work, go to church, go home. You're plowing around in circles until Elijah passed by him. And then he was exposed to something. The moment he was exposed to something greater, he dropped something lesser. You understand what I'm saying?
Got it.
That's why conversations like this are important, because really, I'm not throwing seeds, I'm throwing fertilizer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if it hits a seed, it's going to give birth to companies and businesses and books.
He burned his bridge, as I've been saying for a long time, and that's when he cut all the ties to success or failure. Either it's sink or swim, had to go. And this was another interesting thing, and we were talking about this in my house yesterday, because yesterday here was a Monday. I guess it was everywhere, depending on when you're watching this. And I was telling my children, you know, there are certain parts of the schoolwork that they don't like doing, and they work from home. My kids are homeschooled, and there's certain activities that they have to do. And I told them, I said, Monday morning is my most productive time of the week. I had 5 things on my to-do list yesterday. I got through 3.5 of them. Monday is the best time to get as much done for the week of the things that you don't like doing. And it's interesting, T.D. Jakes talks about in Genesis 49:27, Benjamin is one of the originators of the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes. Benjamin in the morning would devour the prey. He said, devour the prey in the morning and divide the spoils at night. So devouring the prey in the morning means get out there, do the hard stuff, slay the competition, do what you have to do to acquire clients. As they say in the old axiom, eat the frog first thing in the morning, because everything else you do all day can't be as bad as the first thing that you already accomplished in the morning. And that's got a biblical source, to get out there and devour the prey early in the morning. And then in the evening, you'll divide the spoils. And in our case, we'll do what's left of paperwork, learning, training, studying, doing certifications, reading underwriting guides, all that kind of stuff. Building your website, writing articles, making videos, that kind of thing can be done at night when it doesn't interrupt the most important aspect of your business, which is devouring the prey, done in the morning, the first thing in the morning. If you, and T.D. Jakes talks about today's culture, many of the young people today, they want to divide the spoils, show the spoils, show their bling, wear the watches and the tennis shoes and drive the nice fancy cars up to their eyeballs in debt, when they have not yet devoured the prey first. They want to show like they're somebody, but they have not done what's required to actually make that a legitimate outgrowth or showing of what they've accomplished. They just want to fake it till they make it. And I think the opposite of that is practice it till you perfect it. Once you perfect it, then, hey, if you want to go buy yourself a Rolex or whatever, that's great when your business is actually sustaining you, rather than trying to wear the bling and divide the spoils and participate in things that you just can't afford prior to actually accomplishing anything in this world. And there's a glare right on you, the camera. I apologize for that. So, and he talks about don't try it, actually attack it. So many people say, well, I'm going to try this business, I'm going to try that business, and I see it far too often. They say, well, I'm going to give this 30 days. Well, 30 days is not enough to do any business anywhere for any kind of success. So I can block it right there. You don't have to try it. It's proven. What you have to do is actually attack the business and devour it. And this is really cool. He talks about when he got on stage and they were doing a play that he wrote, T.D. Jakes, called Woman, Thou Art Loosed. And it went on to become, $5 million bestseller, 5 million books rather, sold, translated into 12 different languages all over the world. But when it first started, T.D. Jakes had written the screenplay for it, and they were doing it as a play, and they did it as a play in Los Angeles, and one person was in the audience. And that one person, and it was a very small audience, that one person said, you know what, we need to make this into a movie. And so they did. And then it went on to become huge with Tyler Perry and all that.
Understand my praise until you understand my pain.
But it originated with a very, very small crowd. And his point there is honor where you are with your best effort, no matter how small your audience is now, because you have no idea who is in your audience right now. And I remember back a few years ago, I found out about the AT&T situation going on, and that's where they were changing the retirement benefits for AT&T employees. And they could work with an independent agent and save a lot more money than going through the call center that AT&T was driving them to. And so I did multiple blog posts and internet posts and videos about that subject, and got a few key influential people from that organization to watch my material. And then they referred me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times on their internal communication, because I was able to get in with the right people at the beginning. And so what he's saying here is honor where you are right now, as small of an audience as you possibly have, because you have no idea the center of influence that will be impacted if you're doing it by bringing your best to the smallest audience. And he says when he first started his first church, they had 40 people in there. He says, if you don't respect the 40 by bringing your best, and in our business with a small group of clients, if you don't respect them, take care of them, follow up with them, ask for referrals for them, offer the opportunity to cross-sell them other opportunities like dental, vision, hearing, life insurance, just be their resource rather than dropping them like a hot potato after they say yes to one application and moving on to the next client. Do all you can to serve the small people that you have. That way you build your reputation with them, and one of those people can be leading you to an exponential amount of referrals because they have influence in certain retirement circles. We did the same thing with a Xerox employee. They were shutting down their retirement benefits, and this person posted about me on their internal blog, and we got tons of other people because we took the time with this one man to make his case right, to make him feel like he was the center of my world. And what T.D. Jakes says is, if you don't respect the 40, so your first people starting out, you'll never get to the 40,000. That's so good. So be present with each new person. You have to be present with them, not look at them like your next meal ticket to just get off the phone and get on to the next thing. It's not where you want to go that matters. This was really cool. It's not where you want to go that matters. It's what you're willing to give up to get there. That's so cool. I watched a video yesterday that was recommended to me, and I spent a lot of time in my down hours late at night watching other people in my industry and watching other people in sales and all kinds of things. And the infographic show had a video talking about if you're not rich, you're not going to be. It was basically what it said. If you're not rich already, you're not going to be. And the article talks about the only people who are rich today are the people who were who inherited wealth, or the people who had an Ivy League education at the best possible colleges and had it all paid for by mom and dad. The most stupid, outlandish, disrespectful for hard work, unapologetic for the left-wing slant of, well, the rich are just going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer because there's nothing you can do about it. Whatever you got in your lot in your life, and that's where you're going to stay.
That there are no self-made millionaires. Most people were helped with luck on the way, and often this luck meant supportive parents, good schooling, and having fostered in them that they can do anything they want. You'll also know from watching our other shows that there is a direct effect on how much money you have to how far you go in education.
Really? Well, I started off pretty dang poor, did not have a college education with an Ivy League. I ended up getting my degree when I was like 35, but did not start off in that way at all. But I was willing to, when I started my business career, I was willing to give up things that other people are simply not willing to do and give up. I look around me at the people who are not successful, friends and family who are devoted so hard toward things that boggle my mind how they spend their time. Like, what's the other thing? Oh, NFL football. Not just watching it, but doing the NFL Fantasy Football League. They'll spend so much time researching players that have no relevance to their life, and researching this and that, all these things that are going to bring them absolutely no value. Entertainment, yeah, it's entertainment, but what are you willing to give up to get to where you really want to be? And I look at people watching game shows all day, watching soap operas, binge watching Netflix for hours on end, when they could be devoting that time, especially in the growth phase of building a business, when your time is so crucial. You've got to get past that initial inertia of moving that rock, getting it moving forward. You've got to jettison everything else, or else it's not going to get that momentum started necessary to get you off the ground. And again, here's the quote. It's not where you want to go that matters. It's what you're willing to give up to get there. What are you willing to give up? And I would just challenge anybody that wants to make $1 million a year doing Medicare supplements or life insurance or growing an agency or anything else. There's a finite period of time in your day. And you can tell the successful people what path they're going to be on by what they're willing to give up in their day, or how much junk they fill their day with on purpose. And they purposely choose to spend their time with idle time. And you've heard the old statement, idle time is the devil's workshop. It's not just the devil's workshop, it's poverty's workshop. And there's nothing worse than a lazy person, especially a lazy person who says they're always on the grind and they're an entrepreneur and they're going to build something. You know, based on where they're spending their time and who they're spending their time with, if it's with other smart people, other thought leaders, other business industry people where they're doing a mastermind, sharing ideas and trying to better each other by giving feedback and bouncing ideas off of smart people, or are they spending their time always in entertainment, trying to escape the reality of building their own future? So take steering. It doesn't think I'm steering the wheel. That's crazy. Just got this new truck. I'm trying to learn it. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, I just wanted to share some of these notes with you. And in a quick recap, what I got out of it is Elisha burned his plow, saw what he was going to go after, took off and went straight for it. He burned his plow and went on. And devour your prey in the morning. Get out there, attack it, devour it in the morning. And then in the evening, you will divide the spoils. That was cool from Benjamin. Honor where you are with your best effort, no matter where that is. And it might not lead you to where you want to be, but it might lead you to where you're going to lead you to it. It's going to lead you to something that's going to lead you to the ultimate destination. If you don't respect the 40, you'll never get the 40,000. Be present with each new client. And it's not where you want to go that matters. It's what you're willing to give up to get there. And the main thing is, I can't give you the seed. Nobody that you're ever watching or that you're inspired from or motivated from is going to be able to give you the seed. You have to know whether that's your calling or not, to be completely independent, outside on your own, making all the business decisions on your own. And some people are just not geared for that, and that's okay. But what I want to be, like he said, is the fertilizer for the seed that already exists in the people that want to move forward. I want to be able to encourage, provide tools and tactics and techniques that are working today, given the landscape of where my little niche is, so that I can help and inspire people. I really want to in this year of 2018, and I've always said I wanted to do this, and I've always tried to do this, but it's not up to me. I wish I could bring every old friend from high school, every person that I've met in life that struggled, that has been stuck and addicted into poverty by the choices that they've made and continue to make by buying stupid little expensive, dumb things rather than investing in their life and their future. I wish I could change all of them, but the only thing I could change to make that happen is their mindset, and I can't do that. And it's not my job to do that. I want it for everybody. I want everybody to not have to suffer through poverty. I want every child of every friend and relative that I have to never know what it's like to eat shit on a shingle every day because there's no way they can afford anything else in their house, to live paycheck to paycheck and have a washing machine break and have that change your entire life. Those things that I went through as a kid, I don't want anyone else to have to suffer from. And I know that the only thing that's going to do it is a change in their mind. It's a decision. Every result is based on decisions and choices that we've made, and I can't choose it for them. I can't make the decision for them. All I can do is when they've made the decision, they've made the choice, if they've gone all in, if they've burned the plow, if they've spent the time and resources necessary to put themselves in front of this material, I can encourage them, I can move them forward, and I can give them any tips that I've learned along the way through doing it when nobody else was doing it, that I could look up to and say, hey, what do you do in this situation? Hey, what do you do in this situation? Now that I've been through it for these 20-something years, I want to be able to help people to save that time so they can do it in a couple of years rather than 20 years. That's my goal for 2018, to help more people do that. But again, they have to select themselves. I just can't do that part for them. It's the decision part. So I want you to have the best 2018 possible, 2019, 2020, whenever you're watching this. And I just want to encourage people and be the fertilizer that somebody needs to kick them into high gear so that they can do the best thing for their parents, for their clients, for their children, for everybody that's in their center of influence. You can help so many more people when you have the resources because of the choices you've made. You have the resources to help people. It's such a great feeling. It's so much more than just the car you drive, the house you live in, and the vacations you take. So much more than that. When somebody calls you out of the blue, or you hear through the grapevine that somebody in your family is hurting, and you can help them, and you can sneak in anonymously and take care of something for somebody else. That's what it's all about. That's where you get the really good feeling. That's where it just warms your heart, and you say, man, thank God I had this opportunity. Thank God I was put in this position. Thank God this stuff was revealed to me when it was, so that now I can be in the right place at the right time. And for such a time as this, I can help somebody else. So it's not all about you. It's not all about what you can accumulate. It's who you can help. It's who you can lend a hand to anonymously or, overtly, and help somebody else in their time of need. Poor people can't help very many people with resources. They just can't. You can have the heart of gold. You can go out there and shovel for them. You can, knock on doors for them. But it's a lot easier when you have resources to help people. And so that's what really motivates me a lot, is being able to help people. And the feeling that you get from that is just absolutely incredible. Stay encouraged. It's not all about you. It's about the people you can help. Clients, family, friends, loved ones. And a little bit, you get the great feeling of having done all that. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye. See if I can turn this thing off.
The Saber gives an advice for Netflixing.
Have a plan when you go on Netflix. That's what I would say, because it can suck you in and distract you from real life.
Binge watching has become the new normal, with the average subscriber watching up to 6 hours of TV time at one sitting. For UT Today, I'm Rowan Blogan.